Good morning and welcome to part 2 of this AWA Radiolet 509M, which I'm restoring at the moment. You may, if you watch part 1, you'll know we had a bit of trouble. I had a bit of trouble anyway. I cut some wires that removed the power to various valves that really needed power to make it run. Anyway, we traced it down. Also fixed the volume pot, which was good because we got the original pot back on. It also had an issue with crashing sound when it was there all the time, but you could hear it when the volume control was off. And we changed this 6B6 valve, and that fixed that. It also had a problem with the volume dropping, and I think that valve that was causing that problem. So I changed it. I ran it all day yesterday, and just running it in the background, and it worked perfectly. It works quite well actually. It's quite not a bad radio. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it apart, take all the valves. I'm going to take the speaker off here, and I'll see how far I need to go, but I'm going to try and clean up this chassis. I don't know how well it's going to come up. If it comes up all right, I'll just leave it as it is, and we'll see how it goes. One thing that was of great interest to me was these two trimmers. I think they're air trimmers. One of them has the center adjustment removed, the rod. So I don't have any experience with these at all. I've sort of done a bit of research and looked at it and worked out that basically it's a variable capacitor. This rod moves up and down, and you can trim the capacitance using the rod. It's quite strange. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're called piston trimmer capacitors. I'm not sure. Not sure what we call them. I think that was an American website. So what I found is, I'll just take it out. Just bear with me. Hang on. Just undo that. Actually, I'll take that off. I've loosened this and had it pulled apart. So there we go. And that's the rod that's inside. So that's all it is. It's just a bit of brass rod, as far as I can tell. It appears to be a ceramic ring around the end. And if we look inside here, there's the top of the capacitor, and there's the bottom of it. So that's all it is. It's a tube. It's got a ceramic cylinder in the center, and I think that's a spacer. So I think the top half here goes to the ground, the chassis, and the bottom part is coming straight off the aerial coil there. So I think what happens is this rod is inserted in there. It sits down, that ceramic bit sits in the bottom there, if you can see it, about there, and you adjust it up and down. So you're virtually adjusting the immersion depth of it into the bottom half of this capacitor. And I think so. It's kind of like a control rod in a nuclear reactor. It's joining the two halves together, or interfering with the capacitance between the top and bottom. I could well be wrong, and if you know better than that, let me know, because I'm scratching around trying to find any info on these things. So but anyway, the point is, this is 3/16 rod. I assume it's just brass. We've gone metric 40 years ago or something, or probably more than that now. So of course they don't make 3/16 brass anymore, but I managed to track some down from a supplier in Melbourne. So I bought a foot or 30 centimetres of it, and they're going to mail it up to me. So I'm going to have to try and recreate one of these. I don't know how I'm going to recreate the ceramic bit at the bottom. I guess that's just a spacer to stop it touching the bottom part of the ceramic cap here. So it just runs in there. I think it just keeps it away so it doesn't touch. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Maybe I was thinking maybe a rubber O-ring or something, just to keep it centered. I guess the rubber will go off after a couple of years. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Not sure what to do. I'll need to change this string. The other interesting thing I might try and do is make a new Perspex acrylic sheet cover. It fits inside the the case doesn't fit on here, it actually glues inside the case. So it's got to be a rectangular shape, slightly domed or almost squared off actually. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to have to experiment on how I'm going to do that. I have domed acrylic before using heat and compressed air, so I'm not sure how this is going to work because it's going to have a flat top. So I'll have to see how that goes. Anyway, so that's the next bit. I think I'm going to start by taking the speaker off and take all the valves out, take the cans off, and just clear away the chassis so I can see what I can do. Whether I need to pull it apart any further than that, I don't know. So I've got to desolder all this stuff off the speaker, and we'll see how we go with that. I'm going to remove that, the face plate, and it's riveted on. It's got 3 rivets on the bottom. There you go. So 3 rivets there. I'll just drill them off because I need to get behind this, the plastics coming apart behind. You can see through when the light's coming on. There's a little, you can see a square there. There's some other bits along. There's some other bits along there that I've got. The blacks sort of come off, so I might be able to touch it up again. I think that's mainly from where the lamps are. So this end's not so bad, and this was the one the lamp didn't work. So whether that's been out for some years, I don't know. It's working now. It came good by itself, but so I'm going to take that off and then try and repair behind. I can't take that plastic off because it's got tiny little rivets and it's just starting to fall apart anyway. So I'm not going to play with that. Alrighty, so I'll just start working on this, and I'll keep you updated as we go. Sandblasted this, and it's come up okay, but it's got corrosion all over it. It's all different levels. It seems to have some sort of coating on it. I'm not sure what it is. So that started coming off in places. So I'm going to paint it. I think it's actually got some sort of paint or zinc coating on it or something. I don't know. Spray on zinc. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to paint it. I've taken out as many screws as I can so they don't get covered in paint. I've masked up the bottom of these shield here so it makes you can get an earth connection. One of the things I do is these calendars that you get from this one came from a real estate agent, magnetic when you stick it on your fridge. So I cut those up and use them as blanks or blanking, masking I suppose. So they just go there and stick themselves on. Very easy, quick, take them off again, reuse them, so they're good. The other thing I do is cover up little rivets, because nothing gives away a paint job more than having the rivets painted over. So I've put a bit of masking tape on some wood. I've whacked it with a wad punch just to make little circles. Just pick them up and then stick them over the rivet, and it'll look much more natural doing that. And that takes seconds. So I'll do all those rivets and give it a coat of paint. Good morning. It's been 24 hours since I painted this little chassis, so this morning I'm just going to take all the tape off and reassemble it. I also got all the brass bits and soaked them in phosphoric acid for a while. They've got a red, I don't know if that, I'm not sure why it gets a red coating on it, but a couple of seconds it polishes off back to the original brass. So comes up pretty good. Comes up the original. It's perfect. So I'll just run the Dremel over those and finish those off. I've cleaned all the other parts up, all the nuts, and just used the Dremel to polish all the dirt off. And I'll just put it all back together. Taken all the masking tape off and gave these cans a bit of a polish. So I've also installed most of the accessories. Got those little pulleys on there and remounted the tuning condensers. So what I'm going to do now, I thought, is I'll do the dial string before I put the dial back on. I can see it then, it's because it disappears behind that, so I'll do all that first, then I'll put the speaker back on. Then I can flip it over because it sits on the speaker support to keep it stable when it's upside down. So I've got a bit more string, new dial string, which is the proper dial string. So I'm going to run that. So I'm going to try and remember how this went. I know that was up there, so therefore that's got to go down there. So I'm going to start by, oops, and I'm not a fisherman, so I don't know how you're supposed to do knots for these things, I'm sure. That sort of looks like a reasonable knot, it's not going anywhere. Now that's got to go there, pretty sure of that. I haven't tightened these nuts up either yet. Now the little tag that they've pressed into there goes that way, so I'm going to assume that goes that way, and I'm basing that on no information at all. then I guess it's got to go down there. I took photos, so I can refer to that, but it doesn't look too hard, does it? So I might tighten those up because it means I can pull on the tuning wheel there. Right. That might be easier. Well, clearly it doesn't go that way. Clearly it doesn't go that way. So, what do we do? Do we assume it goes that way? What I'll do is muck around with this for half an hour, then I'll go and check my photos. See if I'm right. I'll check my photos now, but I haven't got my phone with me. Then, they had it that way, but I'm going to go that way because I thought it looked a bit... I thought the angles were wrong from that pulley when the last time it sort of angled down there on the pulley. So I'm going to think, how many wraps will I put in that? 1 or 2? They only had 1. And whack that through there. Hope we've got enough string. Only just. Wow, didn't give myself much room there. Alright, so let's try and get some tension. There we go. Get some tension on it a bit. Oh. Right. Now I need the spring, I mean. I wish I'd left myself a bit more room. Oh, what a twit. We're going to stretch that too far. It will. Oh, don't think that got the whole thing. Hang on. Wow, that is really stretched. Now I expect it, the string will stretch and it'll come back as I tune it around too. It'll stretch and reset itself. So. So I think that's going the right direction. Now the pointer sits on this top string, so my logic would be that if I was to turn the wheel this direction, the string would move that way. So That's exactly what it's doing. So I reckon that's right. Okay, well that was easy. Yeah, very simple. So now I'll reassemble the speaker. I'll put that back on, and I'm going to pop rivet the front dial on. So with this plastic dial, it's sprung out over the years. It's only attached by these 3 points. So over the years, it's bowed out in the middle there, and this is the original cursor, which is a bit short. I don't know if someone cut it, but the cursor that I made actually hits this plastic cover here. I'm thinking of putting another pop rivet down here, not through the plastic, and then a little washer to pull that back down again. Yeah, so I've made a couple of little pieces of lengths of aluminium sheet and just pop them on. So I'm not going through the plastic, it's just the little sheets making a clip to hold them down. So that's much better. I've also just touched up the black there. So the next thing to do is mount the speaker. Just got to pass the wires through the hole, and I can flip it upside down and solder them all back, hopefully in the right place. I'll just put these little stays I made back to help. I should mention I also did some repairs to the speaker and gave it a little coat of satin black to try and stiffen it up a bit, plus it looks better. So alright, I'll just start connecting these wires up. I know that one goes there, so that's an easy one. Those two went up the top there, and that one went in the middle. I'll just check my photos. I did take photos, so not a bad idea. So there's that one there, I can see that one. Those two are the power in, that's okay. C. Oh, that's one there, I don't know where it goes to. Yes I do, it goes to. Where does it go? So I can see that, yep. Okay, so it goes on here. So that one D. D went up there. It has to because it's the only place left. Now these wires are totally. I've got to replace them. They're just broken, crispy. All right, so. That's about it. I think just do the. Got to replace that. Got to put these back on the tuner. The wiring's all complete, so I've just riveted this dial plate on, dial cover, and put the little new cursor I made up, and that works pretty good. So that skims along quite nicely, and I've sanded it. Now I did wonder what that hole in the masonite was about, and it appears it's so they can stick adhesive on the back there on the dial string. Good a guess as any, I suppose. Now I've just got to fit the valves and the shields and this little capacitor, which is not more, but I just kind of cleaned it up. I didn't want to take the writing off. Also, this was all rusted, if you remember from before, and hit it with the sandblaster or the media blaster and just taken all that rust off. So wiped off the valves with just a wet tissue actually and dried them. Changed these wires. They're getting daggy. That one needs changing. This one actually fell off, so I'm going to change that. Can't put that back on. And I'm going to leave this one. This one's pretty sturdy inside, so I'll leave that one. Leave that original. Okay, after quite a struggle, I've got that in. I had to take some bits out so I could get to the nuts. So I'm just going to put the valves back. 6A8. Go in there. B6. Should be a 6U7G. It should be a rectifier, I believe it. X5, I think that was. And this is a 6V6 output valve. I'll put the cans on. So this one I'm going to leave, this wire. It's kind of a shame, I suppose, but anyway. Alright, so all I've got to do is make up these two wires, and I think we're ready to do a power on, so just give me a few seconds to do that. Yeah, just clamp this in the vise. I'll just try and keep it away from where I'm working, so I don't want to use it as a big heatsink. I should be able to just unsolder that. Easy. Okay. Popping a bit of solder on here. Just got to heat that. There we go. Okay. This wire is silicon wrapped, so it's the insulation's, it's silicon insulation, I should say. So it's pretty. You can heat it up without worrying too much about burning the insulation back. Just crimp it back on again. Now, let's put a blob of solder in there. There you go. Lovely. Okay, so just cut this off. Yeah. I'll just cut that off, and off we go. We're almost there, just minutes away from putting the power on, and see what mistakes I've made, if any. Hopefully none. Okay, goes on there. I think that's it. I think that's it. So there it is. I think I'm ready to put power on again. See if all the things I've done, because I took a fair bit out, has been successful when I put it back in. So I'm going to be very careful putting power on, just to make sure I haven't, well, just in case I have put it something in the wrong place, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. Right, I'm set. I've got the powered off the dim bulb. So I'm going to put some power on and see what happens. Let's hope everything's okay. So the bulb looks good. We're pulling 12 watts. That should start coming up shortly. Not hearing anything, it hasn't got enough power, so I've got to go to full power. I'll wind a bit of voltage off that. Go to full power, so I've got 205 volts. And there's a noise. Turn one of my lights off.
Year-old daughter. And they both play a lot of sport. Now my 18-year-old's just taken up with.
Then we had to communicate if we wanted to go forward. He's still my very best friend, and that is so important.
Thank you to everyone.
And she picked up 3 winners with Miss McGuire, Swap Me and Drifting Away. So that was an exciting...
TMP Organics.
TMP.
2022. Having a baby is a mother of a job. A lot of women think they're failing.
There you go. So that was good. It came out all right. I'll stick it on the 240 that it's supposed to run at. Just check that. Hang on a second. I'll just check it up on the watt meter here. So 231. So I'll stick it about. May not get much more than that. There we go. Oh no, I'm on 250 now. Yeah, 239, 236. Anyway, it's going to work.
As he explores what it was like to be both a kid and a carer in a poignant portrait of a family coming to grips with mental illness. This is episode 1. They're playing our song.
Get these events soon, you know what I mean? It's, yeah.
That's really...
Okay, that's working well. All right. Some of the other things I need to do is I've got to get that rod when that arrives, hopefully today, and I'll make up a new one of these. It's got to be aligned, and I've got to make some stickers up to replace the ones I painted. Well, this one was missing, but there's an Arts and P sticker, our licensing sticker, so I'm going to make a new one of those up, put some transfers on. The The other thing I need to do is make that acrylic cover to go over the dial, so that's going to be a job on its own. So okay, that's come up pretty good. Can't complain about that at all. It's good. I'm happy it worked. I didn't put the wires in the wrong place, but I'd taken a lot of photos, so I was pretty confident, and I knew where they were getting their power and what they were doing. So yeah, there wasn't much chance of that. All right, so I'm very happy.